So let's talk about authenticity, the highest point on the meter. Particularly, what distinguishes that from accuracy, and what impact can it have when I'm actually able to get there?
In an accurate conversation, what I'm researching is what is the factual situation someone's in, and how do they feel about it? How do they explain it? What does it mean to them? Authenticity goes a little deeper, in some cases a lot deeper, to discover what's the most important principle, purpose, value that's at risk in that accurate situation. So in an authentic conversation, you're purpose-driven. You could say in an accurate conversation, you're fact-based. And so above 51 on the meter, you are fact-based, purpose-driven. So we now want to get what's the purpose that's driving this person's emotional state, their perceptions, what they do want, what they don't want. In an authentic conversation, it requires a trust and discovery, because it can be surprising what's actually going on for people. So one of the things that we ask people to do is to separate, when you're talking to someone, their authentic purposes from methods they're using to produce results they're producing. Because often I may differ with you about a result you're producing. You know, you and I talked about kids and report cards. You know, what if my child comes home with a report card that I'm not particularly happy with that result? And the method that he or she is using for study, I think, well, that's not going to work. No wonder you're producing those results. Do I do the work to find out what purpose really matters to them? And you know, an example for this about it requires discovery, that authenticity is listening for what's important to that person, not convincing them to be different. Years ago, as I've told you before, when my daughter was really young, when Emma Rose was about 3.5, her mother was leaving for the first time to go sing in New York. Her mother's a classical soprano. And she was very upset about her mother leaving and was causing a lot of problems in the music room while Tana was preparing some pieces. And my son, who was 9 months old at the time, was following Emma Rose around. So Tana asked us to get the children out of the house because she was having trouble working. We go outside and see a beautiful rainbow. And then a double rainbow showed up. Well, Emma Rose was very excited, showing it to her little brother. I said I was going to go get Mom. She thought I shouldn't do that because Mama told us to get out of the house. Mom came out, took pictures of the rainbows, the kids, and took a break from practicing. And Emma Rose was amazed that rainbows have a lot of influence. Well, now it's a few days later. What's happened is I'm learning that it's really difficult when one child is teething and the other one's desperately missing her mother to get them both to sleep through the night. And I'm exhausted because Tana's been in New York for several days. And I found that the more tired I am, the more bioreactive I am, the more of a challenge to my emotional agility. So I was on the phone handing off all the things I thought I was going to get done I wasn't getting to people in the office. Emma Rose walks in the room and pours the contents of her juice glass on a very expensive article of furniture. I got off the phone, put the baby on the floor, and I remember saying to Emma Rose, if you're trying to get my attention, that's not a very good way to do it. Now, from our point of view, that's a sincere reaction. I had this immediate opinion, that's a child trying to get my attention. There's no exploration of what's going on for her. And I got upset, and she started crying, and I told her to go to her room and have a timeout. And then I started thinking, I wonder what had her pour water or juice or whatever it was on the big chair. So I went and opened her door, and I apologized. I said I shouldn't have gotten so upset. And I asked her, what had you pour juice on the chair? And she said, it wasn't juice, it was water. Okay, so now we have some factual information. And then she said, and I didn't pour it on the chair. Well, now I think I'm crazy. I was watching it. I saw the glass, the liquid, pour, chair. And I said, what were you doing? And she said, well, you told me that the way the rainbows get made is when the water hits the sun up in the sky. And there was this big sunbeam coming in through the window. And I thought if I poured water on it, maybe that would make a rainbow and that would make my mama come home. Well, let's just say the authentic purpose behind pouring water that ended up on this expensive chair was one I never could have guessed. That what was driving that was her desire to have her mother be home with her.